All right, how does a campaign deal with damage control after there is a mess from the mouth? Let's ask Anne-Marie Hauser, the former communication director for Tim Pawlenty's presidential bid, and Fox News contributor Joe Trippi, who was Howard Dean's 2004 manager. All right, Joe, you know, we just had to throw that Howard Dean moment in there. But truthfully, we've all had those moments out on the campaign trail where, you know, we say something because we're tired and we have those moments. But sometimes a person gets elected and they still make a major gaffe. This one by President Obama, Dick Morris and I were talking about it earlier. Let's take a look at it, then I want to have you guys respond.
My wife's elected. Yeah. After my wife and I are more flexible.
All right, Joe, let me start with you. This is a pretty major moment. The president, I think, is really damaged by this particular gaffe because it's not just a campaign goof on the trail. This is a policy issue. And he's essentially saying, I'm going to keep something from the American people. And by the way, I'm absolutely going to get reelected. Problem, Parham, in November?
Oh, it's going to be a problem because Romney or whoever the Republican nominee is going to be we're going to see this tape over and over again. I think the reality is he's telling the truth. Why would anybody want to try to do any kind of treaty or anything like that right now when it's going to be turned into a political football as this gaffe or statement's going to be turned into?
He's not an amateur. He knows you never say things like that with a room full of microphones, not just the one that's on him, but those directional mics that point. Why would he take the risk? Why would he say this behind the curtain, back in a secure room, whether it's been electronically swept?
We are increasingly at the stage where, and you know this, there's no way to go through 2 years of a presidential campaign or 4 years as President of the United States anymore without stepping in it. I mean, that's just the fact of life. I mean, I don't mean we've seen every candidate on the Republican side do something, say something. We all go, what was he thinking? The same thing with the president. That's going to happen from now on. Because of who the president is, we saw, you know, President Bush would occasionally gaffe as President of the United States.
Oh, it happens.
No one's immune to it.
Anne-Marie, how will the Republicans exploit this?
Oh, I definitely think, I mean, and Joe even said it, you're going to see this show up in campaign commercials against President Obama. And this isn't his first open mic gaffe. I mean, there was one back in November with Sarkozy and about Netanyahu, what this signaled. And so it is different from a campaign. I mean, this has real-world implications on the international stage, and it is policy. I mean, he is actually in office. He is not, you know, at a coffee shop meeting with voters on the campaign trail.
There was another one this week that got a lot of attention. This is Romney advisor Eric Berstrom. Let's take a look at the Etch-a-Sketch moment.
Well, I think you hit a reset button for the fall campaign. Everything changes. It's almost like an Etch-a-Sketch. You can kind of shake it up and we start all over again.
Okay, let's talk about this. Joe, you think we're going to see this again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to see that one. I mean, the big problem when you're running for president, everybody wants to take you down. Right now, everybody in the Republican Party, a lot of people in the Republican Party want to take Romney down. I mean, Santorum, you want to take him down. The opposition party, Democrats, want to take you down. The key is you don't want to give them ammunition to use against you. And this one is a real problem for Romney because it goes to a lot of the doubts and concerns that people have about him switching positions. I mean, the president, actually these two gaffes sort of mimic each other. The president talking about be flexible, Romney talking about Etch-a-Sketch. You know, what does Romney really stand for? So I think you're going to see this, and it may be exactly what the Obama people and Democrats like me use to come back at Romney when he uses the tape we saw of the president.
Both of you have been in that room in a presidential campaign when the gaffe has been made and there's only maybe 3 or 4 people in that room. You, the candidate, maybe a spouse, and maybe one other person inside that room. The discussion that is held. Anne-Marie, when is the discussion, let's go answer it, and when let's leave it alone, let's don't extend this thing?
Yeah, you know, I think that calm, it's very important to be calm and react, have a cool head, and be able to really think through what the implications are. And even then, sometimes your response will be a miss. You really hope it's going to be a hit, but you have, you know, a team that coalesces together, your top advisors, you come up with your response, and then you get this out. And, you know, a lot of times you don't know how it's going to be received, but you have to go with your instinct, and you have to lead with, you know, what you believe is right.
You worked for Tim Pawlenty. There was a moment in the debates where he would not sort of own up to a comment he had made before on Fox News Sunday about Obamacare. Mm-hmm. Did that hurt him? And was there a discussion inside the Pawlenty campaign that you can tell us about?
Absolutely. I mean, we obviously we had among senior staff, we had a discussion on how to handle that. I mean, I think at the end of the day, our thought was, look, this happened in June 2011, 6 months before voters even went to the polls. This was something that was not insurmountable, and we were obviously much happier then that it happened in June 2011 than June 2012. But, you know, I think that you want to do what's best for your candidate and remain loyal to him or her, and to put your best step forward and just get over it as quickly as possible and move on to the next thing and change the story.
Well, it's always something that's going to happen. I want to thank both of you because you have a perspective that very few people have ever had. I wish we had a lot more time to talk about it. Maybe we can bring you back because I think it's a fascinating thing. And having been in that room, having been the guy who made the gaffe, I know a little about how painful it is when someone on your staff looks at you and says, you really, really goofed it up then. And then you got to figure out how to deal with it. Very grateful to you both, Joe and Anne-Marie. Thanks for being here. Well, the hottest